name is Ron Eslinger, and I will be your instructor for the Hypnosis Certification course. This is a part of the 25 hours of training that you'll do before you come to the class. The information that you'll be learning in this video and an audio that I will also send, you will be responsible for being able to do on the first day of class, because you will demonstrate these techniques. I want to introduce you to Savannah. Savannah is an intern from one of the local high schools, and she has been here and been hypnotized before. She came on our Thursday night client night, which is the most exciting part of the class, I think. And right now she's going to help me demonstrate for you a breath that is a pain relieving breath, a relaxation breath. She's also going to help me with two convencers, the magnetic fingers and the lemon experience. We will then also demonstrate the basic relaxation induction. So if you're ready, good morning, Savannah.
Good morning.
And we're going to get started. Savannah, you've done this before, but what I want you to do is just do this and follow my instructions if you've never done it before, and then we'll get started. So what I want you to do in just a few moments is I need to find out just how well you can focus. So what I'm going to have you to do, don't do it yet, but do it as I tell you, is I'm going to demonstrate and then you're going to do it. Put your hands together, entwine your fingers, cross your thumbs, and then when I ask you to, you're going to bring your hands up and you're going to stare at the space between your fingers. You're not going to look at me, you're not going to look around, you're just going to stare at that space. I want to see how well you can focus just on what I'm asking you to focus on. You ready to do that? Alright, so put your hands together, and when I say bring them up like that, not until I say to. Now, go ahead and bring them up and stare at the space between your fingers. Magnets, magnets, magnets. Your fingers are magnets until they come together and touch. Okay, very good. Now, you knew that was going to do that, right? Alright, because you've done it before. However, other people do not know that, and we're looking for two things here. Number one is when they come together, then I'm going to tell her, you just experienced hypnosis. What we're going to do is going to be just like what we've just done. However, there are going to be people that the fingers don't come together, and those are the ones you're really looking for, because that means that they are analytical. They have to be thinking, those are not magnets. They have to be thinking, well, this is silly. They're not focused in doing what you tell them. And we'll talk about that a lot more during the class. But the main thing is when you come, you're going to be expected on day one is to sit with one of your student clients or one of your other peers in the class and walk through this process. Most people don't realize that the main thing is to say magnets before they get the hands up, because see, this is kind of a trick. Anatomically, the fingers are going to come together anyway. That's why what you're really looking for is them staying apart. That tells you a lot more about that client. Now, we're going to move into figuring out how she uses her dominant senses. So looking at that dominant sense, I'm going to walk her through a guided imagery and having her eating a lemon. What I'm looking for as I walk her through this process, which does she use most? Hearing, sight, touch, smell, or taste. So we're looking at her 5 dominant senses. Extremely important, because when I start working with her in her imagery and her suggestions, if she's not dominant in hearing or using her hearing, then I don't want to use an imagery like, you know, you're at the beach listening to the waves come ashore, listening to birds or listening to music. That's why this is so powerful and important. So now I'll demonstrate that for you. All right. Okay, Savannah, all you need to do now is just let your eyes close gently. Thank you very much. What I'd like for you to do is to just imagine or pretend that you're at home and you're in your kitchen. Now I want you to look around the kitchen and pay attention to what you see, what you hear, what you smell, and what you feel, meaning touch, kinesthetically. Wonderful. Now I'd like for you to just walk over towards the refrigerator. And as you're walking towards the refrigerator, you may or may not hear your footsteps on the floor. And as you get to the refrigerator, go ahead and open the door. You may feel that cool flow of air that comes out of the refrigerator. You might even have heard that little hiss sound that vacuum seal makes when the refrigerator opens. But in the refrigerator today, whether you normally have one or not, there is a lemon. I'd like for you to reach in, take the lemon, and hold it in your hand. And as you're holding it in your hand, pay attention to the texture, the temperature, the size, the shape, and the color in your mind. And now take that lemon over to a place where you normally cut up fruits and vegetables, and take out your knife, and from end to end slice that lemon in half. And now slice it again, making a wedge, and pick up one of those wedges and just bring it up and smell the fragrance of that lemon and see what it might remind you of. And now open your mouth and take a big old bite of that lemon. Just pretend you're biting right into that lemon. You can taste and feel the juice as it squirts across your tongue. Yeah, you can remember that, can't you? And now when you need to, go ahead and swallow. And once you've done that, now you can open your eyes. Okay, I want to ask you some questions, no right or wrong answers. What did you see in your kitchen?
My fridge, my countertops, my sink.
Okay, so now I'm going to check off that she uses her vision, which most people do because that's 35% of your visual cortex makes up your brain. Or 35% of your brain is made up of your visual cortex, I guess is a better way to say that. All right, tell me what you heard in your kitchen.
My footsteps, a door opening, and the slicing of the lemon.
All right, very, very good. So we know she uses her vision and she uses her hearing. So using guided imaging for her is going to be very, very easy if we go to the mountains, go to a stream, go to the beach, wherever we go. Now what about, what did you smell in your kitchen?
I didn't really smell anything.
Okay, didn't really smell anything, so I would not say smell the salty sea air or smell the flowers when I'm using imagery with her. Now we've talked about hearing, we've talked about seeing, and we've talked about smelling. So let's talk about what did you actually feel touch-wise?
I felt the cold lemon and the cold breeze from the fridge.
Okay, cool. So she does use that scent. So if you were at the beach, you could say feel the cool breeze, feel whatever it is that you're going to use. If you wanted them to say be walking in a mountain stream, you could feel the coolness of the water, coolness of a breeze, any of those types of things. Especially if you're working with pain, where you're going to allow coolness over something that's considered to be a burning sensation. So we've done very well. Now you notice I've saved taste till the last, and I do that purposefully, and we know from the way she smiled and the mouth configuration that she made that she actually could taste that lemon. So explain that to me. Tell me about what you experienced as I asked you to taste the lemon.
That sour feeling.
Yeah. Could you feel it in your jaw, like in your parotid gland? All right. So that's very important, because what I want you to understand here is just from that thought, you created a biochemical physiological response. So your brain did not know that you were thinking about eating a lemon. The brain actually thought you were eating the lemon, so it went through the same processes. Now you could tell that process in your parotid gland, but what you really don't understand is, or what most people don't understand, is your stomach gland is, your stomach's making changes, the liver's making changes, the pancreas is making changes. All the parts of your body are now getting ready to digest that food that you just ate, in the same way that the salivation started, because you had to swallow. So the way that salivation started. So that's very good. So this is important, especially if you're working with pain clients, because now you can talk to them about how a thought creates a biochemical physiological response. Extremely important as we move into the science of hypnosis. What I want to go over now is a breathing technique that is usually one of the first things I do with a client. And that breathing technique is extremely important. I'm going to walk her through it and then make some comments to you about it. And we will spend a lot of time discussing this when you come to class, because it's probably the most important thing you're going to do, and it's going to end up being the induction also once you start getting established. All right, you've done this before, so what I would like you to do though for demonstration for everybody else is take your non-dominant hand and place it on your abdomen. Now in a moment I'm going to ask you, and you can use counts 3, 6, 3, 3, and 6, or 4, 4, and 8. The key here is that they're going to breathe in half as long as they breathe out, and they're going to hold their breath for the same amount of time that they breathe in. So you can do that with any count, 3, 3, and 6, 4, 4, and 8, 5, 5, and 10. It doesn't really matter. But she's going to use her hand as a kind of a biofeedback, because rather than saying blow something up in your stomach, not a very positive term, I'm just going to ask her to gently. So if you don't mind gently now, just going ahead and using your stomach to push out your hand. Very good. Now the next time we do this, we're going to have you use your stomach to push out your hand. Do that on about a count of 3, and then hold it for a count of 3. So go ahead and do that again. And 1, 2, 3, and now let it out. Now this time when you do that, take your dominant hand and squeeze your thumb and finger together as you push your non-dominant hand out. And you can just rest it there comfortably. So it's squeeze and push, hold, 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 and then open. All right. And the reason we're doing this is we're creating an anchor, a trigger, so that anytime as she learns to do this, she'll get an automatic response in the same way that when you see a traffic light turn red, you automatically take your foot off the gas, put it on the brake. Well, this is going to start the stimulation of relaxation. Now, this time we're going to go through the full thing. So you're going to squeeze your thumb and finger together, push out your non-dominant hand, hold it, hold it, hold it, and then let it out with a little whisk sound, a little shh, as you open up. So now we're going to create an auditory anchor, so every time she breathes out, she's going to hear. So auditory plus, she can also feel it, and then another kinesthetic anchor is the finger. So it's going to be like this. Hold, 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 and out. Now, you see me demonstrate it, so you go through the whole thing now. Very, very good. Perfect. And you've practiced this before and you're already using it for self-hypnosis, so that's great. Now, a couple of things are happening. When she's holding her breath, that's giving us a really good gas exchange. So more CO2 is coming out, more oxygen is going to go in, and at that point what's going to happen is you're going to give it time for the oxygen and the CO2 together, and then when she breathes out, the CO2 is coming out, the oxygen's already gone into the lungs. So this is going to be a good gas exchange to decrease stress. And so that makes this extremely important. But the other thing that happens is when she pushes out her hand, she's actually dropping the diaphragm. You didn't even have to think about breathing, did you? You automatically breathed in when you pushed your hand out, right? Yeah, good. So what happens is you create that vacuum, the diaphragm drops, but that opens up the 2 lower lobes of the lungs. Now you probably already know that the 2 lower lobes, which are dependent, also have more air sacs alveoli and more blood vessels, which means a lot more oxygen now is going to get out into the tissues, into the cells themselves. That in itself is much more relaxing and comforting. The second thing that happens is when that diaphragm drops, it actually tugs on the vagus nerve. So it's activating the vagus nerve to stimulate the release of endorphins, melatonins, and serotonins. Now, I know you know this, but endorphins are your morphine type substances, and then melatonin are your Ambien or your sleep aids, and serotonin, of course, your Prozac or your mood elevators. But all of those also have 2 other names. One is they are your anti-stress hormones, but they're also called the pain-killing hormones. So now, in this simple breath, you've stimulated endorphins, melatonin, and serotonin, which is also going to take them into the hypnotic state. You've gotten more oxygen out into the cells, which is relaxing and healing. So this, once you teach your clients to do this, truly does become a very quick induction. Now the next thing that you'll experience is when we actually use these techniques and then do a progressive relaxation induction. these are the things that you will be required to know when you first show up to class. These are the things you'll be required to know when you get to class. But to graduate and get your hypnosis certification, you have to be proficient at these, and you only have 7 days once you get here. Now, I'm also going to put with this video an actual client that I'm working on that I audio taped, and we're going to let you hear me going through these demonstrations with an actual client also. This is a client that I only saw about a week ago, so it'll be pretty cool. All right. Thank you, and we will allow you now to watch the progressive relaxation, which was videotaped earlier, and you've got lots to do before you get here. Be sure you read your materials. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.